Grand Rising.
All right.
All right,
Welcome
Daddy.
back to
Yes,
another episode, right? Another endeavor.
another endeavor of the Wake Up and Win show. So yeah, we're gonna get started and have a good conversation. This is something that you brought to my attention. I guess we could do quick introductions for formalities. Um, for those who are joining us live and or may watch this in the replay, my name is Monique Macklin, also known as the Pink Power CEO, founder of The Credit Lady, and I've been in the industry for over 27 years. And my mission and goal is to work with people nationwide, worldwide, and helping them to make, manage, and multiply money.
All right. Hi, this is the prophetic financier, Al Mills, and I am a specialist in creating socioeconomic mobility for humanity, where I help you think, bank, and leverage better, which will truly equate to you producing more income, more time, and more location freedom so that you can live your best life.
So today's topic is FINCEN. We're going to talk about FinCEN and how they want business owners' information, BOIs, right?
That's good. Beneficial owner interest, correct.
Yes. So they want to know all the details of who actually owns all of these LLCs, right?
Well, let me first make a disclosure. We're not giving legal advice,
Correct.
financial or tax advice. This is purely for entertainment and educational purposes to our family, our private members. And just to go back a minute, what is the acronym? What does the acronym mean? FinCEN is basically a financial crimes enforcement network. Again, financial crimes enforcement network. So, chew on that for a minute, right? Let's just talk
Right.
about, think about that word. It's a division of IRS that's primary job is to
Uh-oh. Your phone muted.
enforce financial crimes.
No, your phone muted for a second.
Enforce, I don't know, I'm still,
You're there.
enforce, I'm sorry, maybe, financial crimes enforcement unit. Its job is to basically enforce financial crimes.
Correct.
So this is not a company, agency that's just looking to hold data. They're looking to cross-reference data to see if individuals are functioning or doing things properly in their business. Because most of the information that they're asking for, your respective bank that you bank with has that information already,
Right.
for the most part.
Now, this is something that came to fruition because of the high level of issues with during a pandemic, right? PPP loans and all those things, right?
Well, that's one of the reasons why, but there's a myriad of other reasons, such as foreign investors who are extracting capital out of the U.S., not paying their form of tax share on it, and the like, and people are setting up fictitious companies and just running money through them and never ever paying taxes or anything of that nature. So they're looking to try to, the country's in trouble, right? They need
Yeah,
money. And so
they need money.
this is the biggest shakedown, if you will, on small businesses that you've ever seen in the history of the United States.
And as you just said, it's on small businesses. This is not going after corporations. This is,
No way, not at all. But
so that
21 exemptions though,
there are.
if you qualify.
Okay.
If you qualify.
Okay.
Yeah.
But for the most part, bigger corporations are kind of shielded
Correct.
from this whole process.
If you generate 5 million in gross revenue, you're exempt automatically.
Right. So if you make money, they don't bother you.
Hey. Aye.
So if you're making money, big money, they're not going to, mess with you. Now, so I know the deadline is December 31st, 2024, that you have to go onto their website and you have to submit the information of the businesses that you own, right?
Well, first, if for any newly formed business that was formed in 2024, you had 90 days to file
Oh, right.
that report.
Correct.
Any companies that were formed prior to 2024,
Yes.
your deadline is December 31st, 2024,
Correct.
in which you have to name any and all beneficial interest owners who have 10% or more in beneficial ownership.
Right. Now, I know we've had conversations with on here saying that LLCs are not businesses, but this does include LLCs.
Right, right. But the question was asked, a single member LLC is a disregarded entity, so it's like you're a sole proprietor because it goes to your social security number. So
Right.
in that example, from my understanding from my legal counsel, they're not required to file.
Okay. So a single member LLC is not required to file, but someone who has members or partners is.
Correct.
Okay.
Because a single member, it becomes a disregarded entity. So you're not a business at all. You're doing business as yourself.
As
You're a sole
yourself.
proprietor.
Okay. Perfect. So, what is your suggestion for people to do? Because this is very important. Because if you don't do it, you could be fined up to $10,000 or $10,000 in all possible jail time if you don't get this done.
It's 500 a day from the time that you're out of compliance. It's 500 a day up to 10,000, and after 10,000, yeah, you could have a nice sit down and club fed for 24 months.
24 months. Jesus.
They ain't playing out here in your streets. They're not playing out here.
Not the
They're not
Trini.
playing. They're not playing. Look at that. It got me so frustrated. I went into original dialect.
Exactly. He turns
Pardon my
off the
French.
Trini. He turns the Trini off and on if you don't know.
Pardon my French. Pardon my French.
Oh man, they're not playing with you, know. So yeah, so we got to make sure that people who have businesses that you have formed, well, if you formed it this year, you should have already done this process, honestly, because you only had 90 days to do it. But if you formed it,
and if not, you're going to have to pay some fees.
right, it's $500 each day. So if you have not gone to FinCEN's website, and it's FINCEN, just Google it and you'll be able to find it.
It's FinCEN.gov, correct?
FinCEN.gov, and then you go to that section where you have to provide your business ownership information.
And here's what they want, guys. The listeners, they want name, date of birth, address, driver's license, passport number,
Dang.
business address, home address. They want everything that can aid them in an investigation. So you basically, for some might say that's self-incriminating if you were doing something criminal, but they want it all.
Right. And like you said, the banks usually have this information anyway, right?
Correct.
So they're just, I guess, but isn't for like who should be worried? Like, should people be worried about providing this information?
I think that you should be worried because it could escalate very quickly. And by the way, if you're going to be in business, we talk about this all the time in the community,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Don't play life small. Go big or go home. So why be a small business owner when you can go big?
Right.
And then you get insulated from a lot of these different things. So there are actually 23 exemptions
Okay.
for companies that are not. I'll kind of give you a few of them. Like if you're a government authority, a bank, a credit union, a depository situation, a broker deal, that means you own a stock brokerage firm, any other types of exchanges. If you're an investment company or an investment advisor, if you're a venture capitalist fund advisor, an insurance company, life insurance, death insurance, any of those, commodity broker, accountant, if you're a CPA accountant firm, if you operate a pooled investment vehicle, that's fine. Tax exempt entity is a big one. That's like the 19th one. So if you know how to operate in private,
Right.
as we teach in the community, your entities are not required because they're not statutory. They did not get permission from the Secretary of State, which we like to call Caesar. And so you don't have those filings. And so you have to learn to operate in private
Right.
or go big.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can go big. You don't have to start a company and go big. You can buy a company and go big too, which
Well,
is something we help with.
That's our whole mantra.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't believe in starting new businesses.
The only business you'll start is your holding company that will possess other operating assets, but you're not going to start a company. Well, I wouldn't say you shouldn't, but it's not advisable to start a brand new company and have to build it all out. It just takes too much time and resources to do so.
And as you see, it could be a lot of bureaucracy as well, with all of these little things that you have to do with paperwork here and paperwork there. And you don't just start a business. You need an accountant. You need a lawyer, a legal team. You need your board of advisors or directors. It's a lot that you have to build and put together. In addition to understanding who's your market,
Absolutely.
who's going to be paying you to pay all these people, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so yeah, there's a lot of people out here that have been in business for a very long time and they're ready to sell their businesses. They're ready to retire. And we actually teach you how to find the right type of business to align yourself with so that you're, going to be cash positive from day one.
And that really has to do with your socio archetype, meaning your personal preference. Do you want to be an operator or do you want to be an absentee owner? That's the first thing we generally ask about. And then we always look at what is the income you're looking to generate to a purchase to make your life comfy, if you will. And,
Right.
and like you mentioned, there's over 10,000 baby boomers retiring every single day.
Correct.
And of that baby boomers, 20% of them have businesses that are for sale. So that's about 2,000 new businesses hitting the marketplace every single day until 2029.
How many? Say that one more time.
2,000 new businesses hitting the marketplace.
Every day. Wow.
As of last week, there were a total of 36 million businesses for sale in the United States. And
Wow.
only 1 out of 12 will ever sell that's listed online or with a brokerage or the like. So that means that a lot of those companies will close their doors. And what will end up happening is that those people that they employ, on average, a small business employs between 8 to 15 employees. So just imagine almost 2/3 of those businesses that are for sale and they close their doors. There's a lot of people going to be unemployed. So that's one of our strategies is to be a social valve to relinquish that pressure so that people remain working in America. So we buy these companies, we innovate them, we create them, make them more profitable, and then provide stability for the workers and the products and services that they render to the communities.
Right.
That's what
And
real
having
business is about.
ownership in
And having
businesses.
ownership.
Yeah, right. You have ownership. So that's another thing that you can have ownership that's going to create passive income coming into you. Where if you start a new business, you don't know when your money, because most people don't break even or start getting any profit for about 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, and what's the reason for that? Because they either lack having a proper team assembled, they're not properly capitalized, and they don't understand market segmentation. They don't know what the market wants. Again, we talked about this in
Right.
other calls. You started the business because of something you're passionate about, but your passion may not be a need that society wants in a big scale, in a big way.
In a big scale, correct. Exactly. So it might work in your neighborhood or, your neighborhood in three towns over. But it doesn't mean, like if you're a barber, right, or a hairstylist, you could create and generate good money. But if you purchase one of those salon suites and you own that, right, and then you have multiple barbershops and salons paying you, that's a much better business venture than you trying to be a solopreneur cutting hair, right?
Correct. Because again, here's the horrible trade, family. Anytime you are trading your time to earn a wage or a dollar, it's just not a good trade. You only have but so much time in a day that you humanly can work. And so just understanding that you go into business as self-employed, limited on your potential.
Exactly.
But we want to tap into our true selves, in the knowledge of self. We're infinite.
Correct.
We have unlimited, but you have to know how to put forth that habit that matches the actions to do that. And that's why owning companies and multiple streams of income will help you do that.
Exactly. And also, like he just said, go big or go home. Again, you can protect yourself from, if your business is generating 5 million or more annually, then that's a way to shield yourself from these things like FinCEN that have been recently implemented out here. So,
And there's logic behind that. If you are generating $5 million in revenue, most companies that generate that type of revenue are employing north of 20 employees.
right.
And so you have people on the books that are wage earners getting a W-2. And then the corporation itself has its own tax filing on 1120. And so it's clearly transparent. They can see shareholders are protected naturally because they don't make decision making in a company. So they can't ask you to provide every one of your shareholders.
Right. That's true too.
So this is why it's a better structure.
Now, for those people who may have some concern, they can actually reach out to us. You can either DM us or send us messages, or you can schedule a strategy session if you click the link, and then we can help you even do a corporate audit if you have a business currently and you're not aware of what needs to be done or how, if you're properly structured or anything. You could always get what we call a corporate audit to make sure that you are in position and you're moving in the right direction. Al has a list of specific questions that will be asked and answered, so we know if you are on the right track moving forward.
Correct. So just be mindful, just to kind of give you a short notice of this, but we're going to encourage you again to go to FINCEN.org. But just be mindful. We talk about this in the community like a broken record. I'm going to be redundantly painful when I say this,
Right.
but it's that what you create, you control. If you understand who you are in the cosmic event of the Most High, you can create all things that you desire, and no one else has any business with it. So if you learn how to create and control what you create, no third party or intervener could come in and tell you what to do and ask you why you do what you do. So you need to start learning how to create your own and control your own, as opposed to asking for permission. There's a big difference between lawful and legal, right?
Right.
They say licenses are only for people who are not lawful.
Right.
Because if you're operating in law, you are a principal in the transaction and it doesn't require licensing.
So an example of that is real estate, right? So if I have a property, I don't have to have a real estate license to sell my home.
Or if you're a partner in an ownership of a property, you can sell that property because you are a principal in that transaction.
Right. But if we enlist a realtor, they need to be licensed in order to sell my
Somebody
home.
else's stuff, correct. To sell
Yeah.
somebody else's own.
So that's what he means between lawful and legal. So, yeah. So legally,
Absolutely.
you have a right to sell your own property. But yeah, and that's just to keep safeguards as well, right?
Right. So what they're doing now, just to kind of tap into that, what's going on around the nation is that the world of wholesaling is about to be an obsolete thing. So those of you who are operating in the space of flipping or wholesaling property, they're requiring the wholesalers to be licensed in real estate to do it now, because technically you're
You didn't
not
have to.
you don't own the property. You're
Right.
actually selling your contract. So they still deem that as you're brokering a deal. And so they're forcing a lot of folks to get licensed in order to do wholesaling.
Wow. Well, so if they have the license or get the license, then they'll be fine.
They'll be fine. But
They'll be
again,
fine.
now you're licensed as a licensed realtor. You now have full disclosure in how you operate in real estate. So now you now have to have total transparency in what you do.
Right. So before, if you were purchasing the home from somebody for 100,000, and then you're wholesaling it to someone else for 130,000, you didn't have to disclose the 30,000. Now you do.
Now you have to tell the seller, I'm not actually going to close on it. I'm going to sell it to someone else and for more money. So
Right.
what does that trigger the seller? Well, wait a minute. So then I could have gotten that 30,000 if you're not going to actually be the buyer.
Correct.
Why are you making so much money on my deal? I gave you the deal because you said that you were going to pay cash. See, so
Right.
that's what happens in that scenario. But we have solutions for that as well.
Right.
We do offer transactional funding for those who want to do that. So you'll double close it, or if you need earnest money deposit finance, we do that as well. If you need money to put down on contracts, we're
Right.
here. We're here. So
Exactly. So that's why I always tell people,
excuse me.
when I was going, because I own business of the credit lady, people would just pinpoint or pigeonhole me as credit lady, but I had to let them know the tagline is much more than credit repair. So if you have issues or instances that you want to discuss, let's have the conversation, because when it comes to money, as private bankers, we don't always go by credit. Credit is not always the issue with us because we believe in common sense financing. If the deal makes sense, then I will push it through.
It makes dollars.
Right.
It makes sense.
If it makes sense, it's going to make dollars. So that's the reason why I said you just never know what we can do. You may have assets that you're sitting on that you didn't even think could actually, help you move forward in getting capital. Because even this past week, I must have had, I think, 5 people reach out to me desperate for funding, right? So they were in a desperate situation for funding, but and their credit was good, but the utilization was high and all this other stuff. But so there were contributing factors. So I have to go in now and have a conversation with them to see if they might have an asset or two or something that maybe I can help them, gain access to cash flow, because a traditional bank is not going to help you when your utilization is 99%. That's not going to happen. So if you have assets that you're sitting on, you may be able to tap into 5,000 or 20,000. You just don't know, right? So we have to have the conversation in order to know if we're able to help you. And we do other things. I help people buy cars and stuff like that too, right? So
Absolutely.
so houses, cars, all of that. So it just has to make sense. That's all. And so we wanted to, that's just a little side note for people who don't know. Just have the conversation, because you thinking I can't get a loan, I can't get help, I can't do this, but you might be sitting on a car that's paid for, that's in good
Right.
condition, that
Correct.
you could actually utilize to gain access to some capital.
Correct.
So yeah, you never know. So, but we really wanted to have the conversation on FinCEN because it's October. What we have is October, November, December. So we almost at the end of the year. And for people who own businesses, if you're not exempt, then you need to make sure that you get that information completed online at FINCEN.gov. And that's FINCEN.gov. So make sure you take care of that as well. And could
Be
they
careful
also
out there. Be careful out there. There are going to be a lot of egregious people out here advocating to be assistants to you and charge of dubious fees for you to file a form that's free. So be careful out there. A lot of
Yes, I have
companies
seen
popping
that.
up doing that, charging you thousands of dollars to do it, or sending you scare letters to make you trigger you to act. So be careful with that.
Right, exactly. Now they could also I have seen that where people have been posting that people had to pay them to get that documentation filled out, but they can just go right to the website, honestly,
Absolutely. Free of charge.
free of charge, and get that information completed. So you don't have to pay anyone to do it. But I mean, I've seen people charge people to get an EIN number. When I saw that, I was like, really?
Yeah, it happens. It does happen for sure. But again, if you don't know, you don't know, right?
Yeah,
That's why it's so
yeah.
important to move from that unconscious incompetent state and really come to consciousness and know that you
Yes,
don't know something and position yourself to get the proper information. So yeah,
this is true. Thanks, Coach Cook. I appreciate you.
right. So that's something to think about for
So
sure.
it is something to definitely think about. Now, is there anything that you want to add in addition to FinCEN and that whole thing of making sure you're straight when it comes to that government
Well, I'll say this.
process?
If you've already done this, or if you've already formed companies, of course, I'm going to always say comply and be in compliance because you don't want to ever risk your freedom. Your time is your most precious asset, and your energy is also very precious. So if you've done that, fine. Moving forward, if you want to learn how to operate more in an exempt capacity, we have a multitude of ways to show you how to do that. That's lawful and legal, right?
Exactly.
So if that's
Exactly.
something you want to do, you just need to tap into the Pink Power CEO, and we'll get together and work on a plan of pathway in the process for you.
Yes. You could always click the link in my bio. For those listening to the replay, you can always go to Credit Lady Gems, and that's GEMS, creditladygems.com, and schedule a strategy session. And that way we can have a conversation, a dialogue on exactly where you're at and where you're looking to go. So
Gotcha.
we can help put you on the right pathway to whatever it is, personally or business. We work mostly with businesses, but we can help personally as well.
I have to confess this, right? So I'm here engaging in this conversation with you, and as you know, I'm not really a social media person. I
Yes, I know.
prefer privacy with prosperity, but I'm just seeing all of these hearts and roses and things, and it just fascinates me on how all that is working, right? So,
I don't see it on my end.
right, I see it, and it's like, wow, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of things. So I'm pretty excited about really learning how to tap into that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's those hearts translate into what I guess coins or something like that on the back end.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. But
Awesome.
yeah, so moving forward, the full episodes of these conversations, I'm just going to post them. I'm gonna download them and post them on YouTube so that if we go over the hour, I can at least post the entire conversation on YouTube. And I will do the same thing on his YouTube. But remember to always to follow him because he has to get to 1,000 followers so that we can go live, so he can come on camera. That's the goal.
Yeah, I get
He's
that. Excited
live,
to come
but
on
in
camera.
order for him to get on camera, because he's not big in social media. But again, the mission here with all of our conversations is that he is a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge. And I want people who want to raise a hand to gain access to the gems that he has, and that's he's willing to share and help
Absolutely.
people leverage forward financially.
So there's a lot of prosperity being private. Let me just share that with you, as opposed to being rich and famous. There is a difference. There's a total difference to that.
Right.
And we see it every day. You don't get access to the true players' lives, and they don't show you your yachts and boats and all that stuff. That's very crass in our community when you show those things.
It's very ghetto.
When you become self-resilient and self-reliant, you give yourself accreditation, right? You don't need to show people certain things to get accreditation, but let your speech, let your mind, and your deeds speak for you when you
Yes.
do things. And that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to bring people some common knowledge so that they can be empowered to make appropriate decisions so that they can position themselves in proximity, which is power.
This is true. Thanks, Viv. Thank you and Jason. Viv and Jason are following you. She
Oh,
said
nice.
in
Thank you. Thank you.
the in the comments right there. But yeah, definitely you want to tap in. Most of what he posts on there is just some gems and things,
Inspirational
some
things.
inspirational
Yeah.
things. Um, Conversations. Most of our conversations are in private. Like tomorrow's Friday, and our community has what is like about 2.5 hour meetings every
Woo,
Friday.
intense,
Yeah,
intense.
it's like it's pretty much like a mastermind every Friday that we're involved in, just learning how to to make, manage, and multiply our money, right?
That is correct.
And
Yeah.
to change our thinking about money, to change our mindset. I have literally been communicating with Al for about 7 years now,
Hmm.
and we talk almost daily, and I'm always still in learning mode. I never stop learning when it comes to that. And in order for me to level forward, I have to stay plugged into people who have already done what I'm looking to do.
So let me
Right?
ask you this question, Mo. How many notebooks of notes do you have from our
I don't know.
conversations?
My latest five subject is all done, so I have to go pull out
Ooh-wee.
another
So
one.
that's about what, 100 pages, 300 pages, something
Five
like that.
subject. It's about that. Yeah.
Yeah, about 300 pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he always throws you on the spot when you trying to, what's the formula for this? And I'm like, yo, I just want to learn. I just want my money to grow.
You just want money to grow, but you see, money goes where your attention flows, and then your attention follows what you pay attention to. So when you understand the modality of that,
Yeah.
things happen.
Yeah.
But again,
like
we had a great call last night too with the general community, right? We had a great conversation last night.
Yeah. Yep. So there's people who have tapped in with us and they get to come into the general community. And that was about 2.5 hours as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, we went
But it's
pretty deep.
but it's learning. This is information that most 99% of us never knew. I'm going to just be honest about that. Most of us don't understand the real true cost of things like money. Like we don't understand that if we go to get a vehicle and they give us a 2.9% interest rate, we're probably paying about what, 14% in real life.
Based on the constant, absolutely. And then you wonder
Yes.
why you paid so much, why the car purchase price doubled over the term of your loan.
Correct.
Or a home for that matter.
Right. So you'll buy a house for 200, but after 30 years, you done paid 645,000, and you're like, well,
What in the world?
well, how did that happen? So because there's a cost that they tell you up front, but there's a true cost that's on the back end that the banks don't want you to know about, and there's what you call a trimester in payments. So for the first in a house, the first 10 years is all interest.
90-10, 90% interest, 10% principal. So just on that, right? So if a person was really thinking about this, is owning that single family home or that personal home worth it the first 10 years when all that money is going to interest? You didn't put a dent in your principal.
Right.
You may have been better off renting that lifestyle and taking the rest of all that money that you would have paid and thrown away into a black hole and picked up a passive income opportunity that would have subsidized your rent payment. So there's different ways we look at this in the community. So we'll talk more about that for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of good gems that you get to learn about when you're a part of the VIP community, which is what I'm in, and then we have the general community as well. For people who again raise their hand and say, I need more information, I need more knowledge, I need to learn how to do this right. And most people, especially this week, I don't know what happened this week, but my emails was going crazy with people saying, I need to figure out how to make some more money.
And guess what that really what does that really translate to? Because we know money is the energy of your mind.
Right.
So really what they're saying is I need to think different. I need to learn how to think differently about creating cash flow.
Yeah, yeah. And a couple of them, not a few, but a couple of them were already retired people.
Follow
And
the 40 plan, huh?
yeah, working 40 hours a week for 40 years, only to retire with 40% of your income, right?
Oof.
So, and we all know we can't live off of 40% of what we earn. So we have to be willing to do something differently. If you keep doing the same thing over and over again, then we all know that's the definition of insanity. So we have to be willing to change our mindset. But we will change our mindset to figure out how we're going to get these kids some toys for Christmas. We'll change our mindset to figure out how am I going to be fly on the beach in Jamaica, right? We'll figure it all out. But how do I figure out a way to get more cash flow coming in? Because if you figure out how to get more cash flow flowing in, then that's going to constantly keep coming in that you don't have to work for. Because going to work every day, if you stop working, then that money stops coming in. But if you put things in place, that money can continuously flow. And what they say, the average should be about 7 streams?
Yeah, minimum seven streams.
Seven streams of income that should be flowing into you, so that there's no lack in your life. So that's, part of the processes that we teach you, which includes buying businesses or learning how to use your credit to make money or things of that nature. So there's different ways that we can show you how to do that.
What I find amazing is when people do get this type of information, you can Google and get, right? Oh, multiple streams of income.
Right.
Most people misinterpret that may have to be 7 independent side hustles.
Correct.
What opportunity could have 7 profit centers?
Yeah. I'll just say, even my business, it's not one thing that I do, right? So there's multiple ways that I have money coming in. Sometimes it could be one off, which is that's a problem that a lot of people have. It's just like when somebody comes into a restaurant, they're getting a meal. No one is going to have a meal delivery from that restaurant, right? On subscription. So you have to figure out a way to have money coming in. If you didn't notice, a lot of things have gone to subscription. And that's because a lot of businesses understand the model of constant cash flow. It's like you're becoming the utility company. You signed up one time for cable, but you're going to keep that cable bill on. So you have now signed up for that subscription and you're going to pay that bill each and every month.
And
So
that's
you,
how wealth is accumulated.
right. So you have to learn how to become the utility company. So that's all. So those are the things that we kind of teach you how to do in the community.
Absolutely. So it's great. I'm excited. I mean, this is all about. You know, I just want to first of all take a moment and applaud yourself that you even position yourself to even allow this information to travel to you wherever you're going, driving to work, at home, wherever. And I just want to compliment you on being here. That speaks volumes to the person that you are. And so these are the type of people we want to attract in our space, in our circles.
Correct. Correct. So like I said, the full episodes are going to be on YouTube, and there's a link in my bio for YouTube as well. You just have to click on that. And if you're looking for a strategy session, if you're looking for ways to earn additional income, supplement and/or replace your income, just click on that link in my bio, which is creditladygems.com, and schedule a strategy session to learn more. And then we'll move you along in this process on how to do exactly that.
Absolutely.
Anything you want to add, Mr. Mills?
No, I mean, I think we covered the subject matter today about FINCEN and how important it is and really what they're trying to do with it. But like anything else in the world, there's a remedy for everything, right? And so I think we discussed that remedy on how you can get around that by being a part of a community that understands that. So unless someone has questions, I mean, I pretty much feel as though we covered what we were talking about.
Okay. And thank you, Yapa. As always, I appreciate you for coming
Empress,
in.
absolutely, Empress Yapa, of course.
Yes, for coming in and helping us moderate and welcoming people. So I appreciate you for doing that. And yeah, if no one has any questions, or if you don't want to post them, you can always DM either one of us. Make sure you follow Al at The Prophetic Financier on TikTok and Instagram, right? And
Instagram is at Prophetic Financier at Instagram. Just drop the V. It's
Okay.
at Prophetic Financier. But you'll find me by my name as well, too, Al Mills. So either way, you'll find it. Sure.
Okay. So yep, you'll find him on there. And Monday we'll be back because tomorrow is our about 2.5 hour VIP session. So we don't do Fridays.
We're about to go to mental war tomorrow. Renewing that mind, pulling back that neuroplasticity from our brains.
You see what I got to deal with. But so
Peel back that onion.
right, I'm like, and so I'll tell Al. I'm always getting on him because I'm like, regular people don't talk like this, Al. Like, I understand what you're trying to do. He's like, raise the bar, raise their thinking, raise the level of thinking. I'm like, people don't talk like this. We got to sometimes talk to them like they're. It's what I used to. People would say, speak to me like I'm a 5-year-old sometimes, because that's the level that some people can honestly understand. And I think that's why so many people have missed the boat when it comes to understanding money. But then again, they didn't learn anything anyway. They didn't learn properly, to be honest with you.
You have to learn to speak finance fluently, and it has its own language.
It does.
So you can't come into the space of creation and speak English when we speak in potentially Latin. Let's use that as an example, or something of that nature. So you have to learn the language.
You do. Yeah.
Every social group has a colloquialism in the way one speaks. Even from the Caribbean, Jamaicans have a different dialect than a Trinidadian, or a Guyanese has a slightly different than someone from the Virgin Islands. So everybody has a clique, right?
Yeah.
And everybody has a language.
And money is no different.
And money's no different. In the hood, we have a certain way that we speak.
True. This is true.
So
even when because he and I are like big Power fans, right? So even when Al and I go back and forth about Power, and then he starts to break down how they operate monetarily just like a business in the proper way, it's street money, right? But it's still the
The
same
principles of the
principles.
business is the same. And
Yeah.
for those who didn't realize, the reason it's called power is because they're using the laws of 48 laws of power by
Right.
Michael Green. And in every one of those episodes, it's using one of those laws. If you've ever studied it extensively like I have, I can pick it up when someone's applying it.
Yeah.
And 50
So,
Cent, or 50, as they would say, but 50 Cent, he created his own 50 laws of power. So he's dropping those nuggets in the scripts when you see it happening. All those power plays or moves that they make in the show, that's what it's about.
yeah, they're not by accident.
They're not by
They're
accident.
not by accident. So,
Like, for example, one of my favorite that you have to be aware of is act like a friend, but be a spy. Act like a friend, but be a spy. So a lot of people will come in sheep clothing wanting to be your friend, but they're there just to spy on you. You see that happening in workshops, on lives. People come in and troll,
yeah.
but they're gathering information to
Yeah.
see if they can regurgitate that on their platform to create content or do various things. Like one of the new things that's happening when people come to your lives or meetings, they have a automated writer taking notes
Yeah.
and basically creating a transcript of your presentation without your acceptance.
Correct.
And then they
Exactly.
turn that in, put that into ChatGPT, and they created a workbook on your information. So see, these are the things that you have to be aware of.
Exactly. So we're very cautious a lot of times about what we say. This is why we always say one, wealth is private, but a lot of information that we share is private. So we'll drop some gems on here, but the full all the gems are going to be private when we do our private sessions.
The real stuff. I mean, this is powerful stuff that we're dropping here, right? So
Yeah.
just imagine what is being shared on the other side of the pay gate, where you're actually donating and exchanging for even more higher level information. So it's exciting.
Yeah, you can't, because we can't give it all here. Because even I have seen when I have put information out, I've never seen, ever heard anywhere. Well, first of all, I've seen somebody steal my entire platform one time.
Oh, I've had that
So,
happen too.
word for word in a video that I had, the entire thing. So I've seen that, or if I come up with, because I'm good at coming up with, coining terms and things of that nature.
You
And then
certainly
I'll,
are.
and then I'll see other people now in my industry now saying the same thing. So I have to be conscious of what I say and what I do as well, without somebody trying to, imitate. I guess they say imitation is the best form of
Yeah.
flattery, but no, stop it.
I
So
have a saying though, often imitated but never duplicated. That's what I
this is
say
true.
about myself.
See, exactly. So we have to be cautious. So we want to give you information, but the real information, the real gems are honestly happening in private and not in public.
The author said, "We know who." Oh, yes, we do.
Exactly. So yeah, we got to be very cautious about that. So feel free to schedule a strategy session. Always click the link in my bio on TikTok or Instagram at Pink Power CEO, or go to creditladygems.com. And that way you can schedule strategy sessions. You can get a corporate audit. We can show you how to buy businesses. We can show you how to align yourself with us to create revenue. If you can't go into business for yourself, you can still align yourself with us to create money. All of that. So start earning additional money, because a lot of people do need to supplement their income. So I have platforms that I've put in place to help people do just that, so that you don't have to be in a financial chokehold in this time. So yeah.
Absolutely. Just be mindful that the first thing is you have to start being that entity that you want to have. You can't. It's not have do be. You need to start being that in your thought process.
Right.
Money's not what we call money. That's not the answer. If that's the case, people have made a lot of it, but still end up in the same situation. Why?
Right.
So we know that. Everyone here will earn over $1 million in their lifetime, but did they retain it? No, they did not.
No. And just because you earn 100,000 doesn't mean you kept 100,000. So you have to learn to live off of exactly what you're taking home
We're
as
gonna have to
well.
change that
No,
narrative. We're gonna need to
not
change
the,
that.
not no.
$100,000 is not even sufficient to live. That's the working.
It's
That's
not
the working
enough.
poor.
It's not
That's the working
enough.
poor.
It's not enough because when you've earned that close to that in a month and it's gone,
That's the working poor.
it
That's just
is. It really
deplorable.
is. That's not.
Deplorable.
It used to be what they call middle class. I know you don't believe in that term middle class. The way Al sees it is either you're wealthy or you're poor. There is no middle class because people in the middle are usually what we call the working poor, right?
Right now, and why do I think that? Because in the law of polarity, there's always a polar opposite to something.
Correct.
That's just universal. So you have tall, you have short. Have you ever found someone who says medium height? Doesn't exist. It's mostly either tall or you're short. You identify as being tall or short. Skinny or large. Small or large. It's not really, there's a medium, but most of the time when a person processes that in their brain, they see one of the two extremes.
This is true.
It's either you have or you have not. Very simple. And that's the war. And that's the war in the commerce is the haves versus the have-nots. It has nothing to do about race, color, or creed,
No, not at
or
all.
nationality.
It
It
doesn't.
has to do with those who have the right knowledge. That's what separates poverty from wealth, or prosperity, if you will, is the proper knowledge.
This is true. And
But
actually,
people don't want that. People don't want the knowledge. They want the results of
I was going to
knowledge,
say that.
but
I
they
was
don't
here.
want to put the work in to get the knowledge.
Exactly. It's the same thing. It's pretty much like going to school, going to college, right? So you're going to go for 4 years and you're going to put this money in with the hope that on the other side you're going to be able to take care of yourself, earn X amount of dollars, and live this fantastic life. And a lot of people who have followed that blueprint have found themselves in a financial chokehold.
But
And
isn't it
it's
interesting though? You declared to
Yeah,
be non-profitable for 4 years of matriculate in school.
correct.
4 years you're making the decision that you're going to have limited income, took on debt to not even know with certainty if you're going to even have an opportunity to use that degree when you get out. Just to get start thinking about that.
Yeah. And how many people go and get that degree and don't even utilize that degree? They go for something else. They wind up working at motor vehicle that after they done spent 4 years, 150,000 on some economics degree or something, right? So
Right, right. Well, if you don't take anything else from what I said today, be mindful of this. You don't need a degree to be a business owner,
nope.
but you do, as a business owner, need to hire people who have degrees.
Yes. Yeah.
Hope you caught that. Hope you caught that. That was a nugget. That was a game changer.
That was a gem. That was a gem.
That was a game changer right there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's so these are just the little things, or these are the types of conversations we really have all the time. Even just he and I just having conversations back and forth. So this is how we communicate with one another. I'm usually with a notepad taking notes. Or
And I take no prisoners, and I take no prisoners. I'm like, Mo, we really want to go there? Really? It's either you're on, you have to choose. You can never become what you despise. So if you have a challenge with billionaires, multimillionaires, prosperous folk, then you can't become one if you despise them.
This is true.
And that's the first way that they conquer us, is they make us look at those types of beings as being bad, greedy, selfish. So you will never aspire to be one of them.
Yeah. Or
Subconsciously.
people will say, I'm not looking to be rich. I just want to be comfortable. I'm like, I don't want that.
Comfort. What is comfort?
Right. No, I just want to be comfortable. I don't want to be comfortable. I want to be well
I
beyond
just want to
comfortable.
get. I just want to get by.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but
that's what they say.
yeah, but what I
Because
know to
a lot
be
of people look at wealth as being dirty, honestly.
dirty, selfish. I'm like, wow, you'll never be. Well, see, I go a step further. It's about prosperity.
Yes, it is.
Where all aspects of your life is running at its highest levels. Your health, your spirituality, and your wealth. Because guess what? You can get all the money in the world, but be sick. What's the sense?
Well, this is true too,
You gotta
right?
spend it all to purchase back your health.
I mean, what is his name? The man who started Apple, right?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, right? He's no longer with us. And look what he created. He's no longer here. And he was dying before our eyes. And he had amassed a whole lot of wealth. But he couldn't
All that money couldn't buy back the health that he had.
Yeah. So, yeah, you want to have everything, all cylinders working in order. So, yeah. So,
Positive frequency.
for sure. So, as always, the replay again is going to be on my YouTube. The link is in my bio, or you can go to Pink Power CEO on all platforms to to access me. And don't forget to go, and if you need assistance or you're looking for ways to create and earn extra money, or you want to start a business, or you whatever, let's have the conversation. I can't help you if you don't raise your hand, or we can't help you if you don't raise your hand. Allow us to move you in the right direction. Even if you're not a good fit for us, we can at least point you in the right direction for you.
Correct, because it's not about us selling you a product, a tape, or a book. It's about us really understanding your current reality and your desired reality, and help you bridge that gap. And everything is customized, everyone. It's customized. We're not trying to put a square in a round hole. We're trying to create a customized plan, pathway, and process for you. Each one of you are unique. So your situation is unique. And so we have to create a blueprint that is unique for you.
Exactly, to get you to your goals. So, with that being said, I hope everyone has a blessed and prosperous day. And we'll be back on Monday at 10 a.m. We're going to try and switch it up a little bit, probably try some morning sessions in about a week or two. But I'll keep you posted.
You mean evening sessions?
No, early morning. I don't know.
Early morning. Okay, early morning. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the name of the podcast is Wake Up and Win.
Well, what is wake? But see, now that's the debate. Wake up in what sense?
Yeah, right.
See, that's a play on words. Wake up
Right.
and win,
Wake up and
or
win.
wake up and win.
Yeah, you can wake up. We want to get you woke.
All right, so let's illuminate that light. Let's get that light turned on.
Yeah, exactly. So
Children of the light.
and we may do a wake up and win at night. We may do that 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, because more people are online at home and things of that nature. So we're going to try out different times to see what works best for us. We just wanted right now to get this content out. People can listen to the replay, but then we'll start, focusing on inviting more people and things of that nature.
You know what's funny though? If you think back in the old days with infomercials, and no, I'm not telling my age, but infomercials, people used to watch those infomercials 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And they sold the most product at that time. So just think about that. Why? Because people who are frustrated, worried, and concerned, shame, guilt, and disgust is in their lives. They can't sleep. So guess what? That's when the infomercials are there. So maybe we may have to meet the people in their frustration.
At 3, 4, 5 in the morning.
Yeah, especially with that, because that shame, guilt, and disgust is a doozy.
It'll shake you up out of your sleep. It'll shake you up out of your sleep.
So scrolling the social medias at that hour of the night gives you some solace, right?
Yeah.
So let's maybe try to, instead of bringing them some smut and some all that kind of stuff, let's bring them something that's going to change their life.
Right, something that can really feed their appetite. Something that people don't know this is the type of information that they're missing in their life, right? People don't know that they have a bad relationship with money. They just feel like I don't have enough money. But most people have a bad relationship with money, and it can stem from, like we've talked about before, traumas from the past, right?
All that trauma and drama concerning money.
Right. No one ever sat down and said, this is how you create multiple income streams. This is what you do with that. You invest. Most people don't invest. We don't know that we're supposed to do more than a 401k, right? Which, I know that's not.
Eventually becomes a 201k.
Exactly. So we're doing what our parents did, and then wondering why, we're in this financial demise.
Let me ask you this, Mo. Did a person really expect to have a different outcome if they followed the plan from Big Mama and Granny and whoever before us? Did you expect to be different?
Oh, no.
Let's just be real. Let's keep that real.
This is true. But that's what Mama and Big Mama and Daddy and all of them told them to do.
Generations. I've seen it. People that I've known, and I'm not throwing shade. I was fortunate enough to have come from a very strong family and ties, and at that time upper middle class, if you will. But I've seen friends and cousins that generations of public assistance was passed down
Yes.
because
Right.
they followed the plan.
Right.
Never
Right.
moved out of that. Never moved out of that tenement building.
No.
Never owned any property. Never ever got a passport.
It's the
Never
truth.
left their borough, far less the state. If you're in
I
New York
know.
City,
Right. For the New Yorkers, right?
yeah. So how do you? But you really believe that your outcome would be different?
They, sadly, people don't think beyond a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? If it worked for mom, if it appears to have worked for mom, and maybe I'm coming up and I'm making maybe 30, 40, 50,000 more than my mom made, then I'm probably in a much better position, right? And mom done died and I got this apartment. I'm going to stay in this apartment.
Right of survivorship. I got this apartment,
Yeah.
low rent control. I'm paying $450 for a 3-bedroom in Harlem.
Exactly. Right. And we're from New York, so this is the kind of thinking that happens a lot up there. And unfortunately, but that's the mindset that people have. Like, oh, they say I can't leave New York. What am I supposed to do when I leave New York? I was like, live, yeah. Like,
Live your life.
live. There's a
You have
whole lot.
dominion over the earth, family. We had dominion over the earth. Earth is our oyster, our playground.
Yeah, people are scared. So if they're scared to just move, some people scared to move from one borough to the next in New York, right? But it's
No, you want to really get there? Some people are afraid to move from Flatbush to East New York, or
This
East
is
New York to
true.
Canarsie. And I'm just giving examples.
yeah, and that's how that's the mindset. So if we're telling people that yes, you can make 5 and 6 figures a month, that sounds very scamish
Outlandish. Yeah, outlandish.
in their head. That sounds very scamish in their head. But if
And we
other
know what
people
scam
have
means,
right? Right.
Still confused about money.
Still confused about money. But my whole thinking, even when I lived in Brooklyn in the projects, was when I would go to Queens and visit family in their houses, is if they can have this, why can't I?
There you go. You had the light. You had the vision.
And this is at like 10, 11, 12. I'm like, why do we still live in Brooklyn, yeah? Like, what?
Let me go get you guys some houses to look at and get us up out of here.
And that's exactly the truth. I found us our first house in Queens when I was 14 years old because I told my dad to come straight home. We got houses to look at. And he was like, you really serious about this? I was like, yeah. Like,
Change our conditions.
why aren't you? Like, I didn't understand that whole thinking, even at that young age. So it just really, sometimes it takes somebody, it can even take a child to motivate the family to do something. You just never know. You never know.
You're correct.
So, again, you just have to be willing to raise your hand and take action. I didn't have any money to buy a house, but I knew my father worked for New York City Transit and my mother was an accountant. And while
That
we
was
still live
enough.
here,
Why are we still here? Exactly. Why are we still here?
the math wasn't mathing at 14. So,
And henceforth, that's why you are now the Pink Power CEO, because you
Exactly.
had vision and foresight.
exactly. So that's a little bit about my story. But again, those who want to raise their hand, change their life and lifestyle, just either reach out via DM and or just schedule a strategy session and let's have a conversation, because you can't, if you have a goal on what you're trying to do, or you don't, some people don't even know what they want to do. Maybe we can help you get there.
Agreed.
I'm sure we
Agreed.
can, because there's a lot of people who just don't know what they want and how to get there.
Clarity is a very uncommon thing for most people. They don't know what they really want.
And they can't articulate it.
Yeah.
So
We're going to change
yeah.
that. We're going to change that.
So yeah.
Each one teach one, each one lead one. We're going to change that.
So yeah, thanks so much. Thank you, Yapa, once again.
As always.
And I'll talk to you soon. Have a blessed and prosperous day, everyone.
All right, family, be well.
All right, bye-bye.